Welcome to the most important week of the year for the podcast industry. Welcome to Podcast Movement 2025.
Hello and welcome everyone. How's everybody doing? Headphones on, locked in, good to go? Awesome. Well, my name is Stephen Robles. I'm a video and podcast creator, and we're going to talk about adding video to your show without adding editing time, and I'm going to give you a bunch of tips, both from planning to the recording process itself that helps you edit faster. Going to talk a little bit about gear, going to give you everything. I'm going to move pretty quick because I want to leave some time at the end for Q&A, so if you have questions, you can ask them at the end. Like I said, I'm a video and podcast creator. I have a YouTube channel, just crossed over 150,000 subscribers there. And in addition to my YouTube channel, this is my podcast channel, which we're nearing 3,000 subscribers there, and just about 400,000 views on the podcast specifically. And my audio podcast has about 350,000 downloads in the last year and a half. We just launched that podcast a year and a half ago, and one of the things we launched with was video. I've been podcasting for 15 years. I did audio only for a long time, but realized if we want to grow, we want to reach that wider audience, video is key. And so why video? Why should you add video if you haven't already? You've probably heard a lot about this week at Podcast Movement, but discoverability, finding the audience, helping the audience find you, posting that cross-platforms. I'm going to talk about all the places to put the video that you record and edit, including on Spotify and on social media. Reaching younger audiences is key. Video is key for that. And just people straight enjoy watching video now, even for podcasts. We do a thing on our show where we'll shout out anyone that gives us a 5-star rating and review in Apple Podcasts. It's a great way to generate more 5-star reviews and also makes the people feel more connected to your show. And so often, even though they go to Apple Podcasts to leave the review, they'll say, I love the video podcast on YouTube. I watch mostly on YouTube. And my audience came from audio only. I did audio shows for a long time. And now those same people just saying they prefer and love watching it on YouTube. And this artist, you may or may not have heard of them, but Taylor Swift recently did her very first podcast appearance, notably, of course, on video. And you'll see the video reach like 15 million views in 24 hours. But it does say something, trying to reach that audience, where to do it. And video is the key. There was also some great recent studies and metrics. This was a blog from Transistor, a great podcast host, and they talk about Gen Z's favorite podcast app, which guess what? It's YouTube, of course. More people are watching on YouTube than anywhere else. The podcast apps more people use, especially in that 18 to 24 demographic. Even Spotify's been on the decline, and YouTube increasing even more. But it's not just the younger audiences. When asked where people discover new podcasts, overwhelmingly the answer is YouTube. Both that Gen Z age bracket and all ages. You'll see YouTube on the left there the most for discovery, and then YouTube Shorts, and then Reels, TikTok, and Instagram proper. So discovery is key. Video is key for that discovery. Also, the study from Spotify last year showed that when people watch video, even on platforms like Spotify, people stick around for longer. They're more invested in the content, and they keep coming back for more episodes. So all the data, all the metrics show discoverability, growing the audience, keeping them around. Video is key. So where do you start? Real quick, I'm going to give you like a good, better, best gear if you're just starting out and not sure what to do to add video. And then we'll talk about planning your recording, AI editing tools, and promoting that video. And so if you're just starting out, this is the setup. This whole setup, as long as you have a window, so I'm not going to count that in the budget, $70. This setup is a $70 USB microphone. That's the Samson Q2U. I love that microphone. I have a co-host that still uses it. When it comes to a camera, if you want to add video, use your phone. Use your phone. Don't use your built-in webcam. If you have an iPhone and a Mac, you can literally just select your iPhone as your camera wirelessly. That's a feature called Continuity Camera. If you have an Android or a Windows computer, there's an app called Camo, C-A-M-O. It lets you use any mobile device as a webcam with your computer. That's going to look way better than any webcam and built-in camera on your laptop. And a lot of times, that's what I'll use. I'll use my iPhone as the camera. If I have to record in a hotel room like I'll be doing later this week, I use my iPhone as the camera. Also, if you did want to maybe get an overview of some good USB mics, maybe for starter ones, or to upgrade your USB mic, I have a video where I review all the USB mics. This is the latest one from latest year. You can scan that QR code, and it goes to the Riverside YouTube channel where I review all the USB mics, the Shure MV7, the MV6, the Rode Podcaster, all that kind of stuff. And I go through those every year. I'll put that up again at the end. For a mid-range setup, the Shure MV7 USB mic is great. And guess what? For the camera, I still say use your phone. Before you're ready to upgrade to like a mirrorless Sony camera, use your phone because it's going to give you the best look until you get up to that space. And you can use small LED lights that are like $30 to $40, and that can go a long way. If you don't have that, just sit facing a window, and that'll give you a much better look. And again, this is my setup. Like when I record in a hotel room, I set up my iPhone as a camera, little tripod for that. I have my USB mic, and you get great quality video and audio just like that. If you have a Osmo Pocket 3, anybody familiar with the Osmo Pocket 3 camera from DJI? That actually can be used as a webcam, and that's actually what I'll do if I want a little better look. It's gotten a little more expensive now with some recent changes here in the US, and it's hard to get, but it is a great camera. And then if you're ready to do that pro setup, go all out, for sure. You can get the Rodecaster Duo or Pro, and get a USB microphone, audio interface, all that kind of stuff. And when it comes to cameras, a lot of mirrorless cameras, meaning like Sony, Canon, you can use them as a webcam, meaning you just use one cable, a USB cable from the camera to your computer, and you can use the camera as a webcam with Riverside or wherever you record. And this is a picture of my setup. This is where I record my video podcast. You can see I got the lights and the microphones and things like that and the camera in the back. But even if you just have your phone, I recently did an episode with my co-host. We recorded in person for the first time, and we just used a bunch of iPhones. So we used an iPhone to capture a wide shot, and we had an iPhone on each of us, and that's how we recorded it. And it looked and sounded great just using USB mics. So just a few words on gear if you're just getting started. But where it really comes in to if you want to add video to make it engaging but not spend a ton of time editing is really in the planning process. Planning your episode with the visuals in mind, sharing as much as you can. And so every time we record an episode, me and my co-host, we collaborate on a document, we have the topics written down. And typically what I do is I'll have a bunch of websites open for whatever topics we're talking about, so whatever your niche is, and then I'll share my screen, share every website as we go, and that's the visual for the podcast. And so you'll see if you watch my podcast on YouTube, you'll see those screen shares every time we change topics and we have the different chapters. And honestly, that's the only visual I do. And because I share my screen while we're recording, I don't have to edit that at all later. Because when I go into Riverside to put my episode together, it's going to do that screen share big and me and my co-host small automatically. So my edit is actually done when I'm done recording. And so planning out that episode ahead of time, have some things you can share your screen, and then you'll have some visuals. That part is going to go a long way in reducing your edit time. And that's what we do every week. And I go from being done recording to publishing an episode in about an hour to an hour and a half. And that includes like making a thumbnail, doing all that stuff, because I focus on basically editing while I record, sharing my screen, doing things like that. So planning your recording is a big deal. And then there's also a bunch of tools that can help you edit and speed up that editing process. So I'm going to show you what I do every week when we record our video podcast and how we do the editing. And of course, I record in Riverside. Yes, disclaimer, I work for Riverside, but I pay for my account personally. I still pay for it. I like saying that because there's some validity there. But we record every week in Riverside, and once I'm done recording, you can jump into the editor, and all the AI tools, I basically click a bunch of them that helps me get way further into the edit than starting from scratch. So for instance, I will remove silences, I'll remove filler words, I do smart mute. So it mutes someone's track when they're not talking. So if they had some background noise or some things in like an air conditioner. So in all of those AI tools gets me like 70 to 80% of the way done with my edit. And one other tip, I'll drop markers while we record. So if I know there's something I need to edit out later, I will see the marker in the Riverside editor, and I know I can just jump to that spot, make the edit, and I'll be done. And so try to do as much planning and as much work during the recording, it'll save you on the editing time. But remove pauses, you remove filler words, I do all of that. I can apply our podcast brand, like a background image and all of that in a single click. And I'm really close to being done. And then there's a bunch of other tools like video B-roll. I can add royalty-free video B-roll right in Riverside, image overlays. I can add background music. I do it all there, export it in 4K, and then I'm done. And one of the cool features, I'll just mention, the co-creator, we just launched this. You might have seen it if you use Riverside. You can now ask Riverside to generate a newsletter based on your recording. Write me 10 LinkedIn posts based on this episode. Write me a blog based on this, what we recorded. And because it has your recording and your transcript, Riverside can generate all that content for you automatically, and that's a huge feature in Co-Creator. And then we generate magic clips, those vertical videos to share on social media, and I'm going to tell you where to post those all in a moment. But all of that, do it in about an hour and a half to 2 hours when we're done recording, and then we publish our content. So use AI editing tools to your advantage, and it'll really speed up the process. Now, you added video, you got your gear, you got your editing down, you have some visually engaging moments. What do you do with it? How do you promote the video so you can actually grow your podcast? And so this is where I'm going to talk a little bit about strategy and promoting your show. Number one, if you're going to do video and you're going to post that video on YouTube, you're going to post the video on Spotify, you really have to get into packaging your content. When I say packaging, I mean the thumbnail for the video on YouTube, I mean the title of your episode, and the first 10 to 30 seconds. Those three elements, your thumbnail, your title, and the intro to your podcast, is key to packaging it all. A lot of times people have the video, they post it on YouTube, but they say, well, it's not getting views or it's not growing. Unless someone actually clicks on the video, they don't know how good that content is. And so a lot of times, this was the hardest thing for me as a longtime podcaster, but getting into YouTube, learning how to package. It doesn't have to be super complicated. You see the thumbnails for our show. I basically take headshots of me and my co-host from the episode. I cut out the background. There's lots of apps that do that. Your Mac can do it just by right-clicking on an image, and you can remove the background that quickly. And then I find some elements about the show, and I just put it into a thumbnail. Just spending a little bit of time on packaging can go a long way. And one other word, the title of your episode. Please don't put episode 001 as your title. You can't do it. You have to title your episode as though someone will actually want to click on what it's about. So if there's a hot topic, you're talking about something trending, or just any, a question in the title, something to show people what the value is when they click on that episode and on that video. So you do have to think like a YouTuber when it comes to packaging your content. And this applies to Spotify as well. Because those same video clips that you share on YouTube Shorts or Instagram Reels, you should be sharing on Spotify as well. If you didn't know, wherever you host your podcast, it doesn't matter, you can go to creators.spotify.com, you claim your podcasts through the email, and then you can upload video clips of your episodes to Spotify. And those video clips will show up in the Browse and Discover tabs in Spotify. They'll show up as people are scrolling through the podcast tab. And so we will share that same vertical video everywhere. YouTube Shorts, to Spotify, and then to Instagram Reels, TikTok, and wherever else. And just to show you, this is what the Spotify for Creators dashboard looks like if you've never been in there. And again, this is for any podcast, wherever you host it. And you can go into every episode on the Details tab there on the left and upload the full-length video. Do that. This could be the same full-length video you upload to YouTube, upload it to Spotify, so now people can watch your show on Spotify. And even if you don't upload individual clips, which you'll see there's a Clips tab there, so you can actually go to Clips and upload those vertical videos right there. Spotify will actually create clips of your full episode automatically. So even if you just upload the full-length video and give that to Spotify, you'll actually see they make clips, and it'll be horizontal, but it'll have little captions on it. That will appear in people's Discover tabs. And so just uploading your video to Spotify can go a long way. And you'll see here when someone sees your show in Spotify, they'll have the full-length episode, but there'll also be the little clip icon there, and you might see that from some shows that you already follow. And again, it's more work, lots of manual work there, but we have found for our show, we get about 3 times more engagement on our episodes in Spotify when we upload the video. So you're talking 3 times more views as opposed to listens, plus greater possibility of discovery. So highly recommend uploading to Spotify as well. And of course, you want to upload to YouTube. When it comes to discoverability, like all the metrics that I mentioned at the beginning, YouTube is going to be that best discovery platform for your show. And not only just the long form video, but also the short form. And so what we do is we upload a vertical video every day. We don't post a full-length episode. So we post a full-length episode every Thursday. Every other day of the week, we're posting a vertical video. These are magic clips from Riverside. We generate them there. It puts the animated captions on. And sometimes it'll get hundreds of views, sometimes it'll get thousands, but it's just a matter of being consistent and posting it regularly because people will eventually discover. And one great feature in YouTube specifically is you can connect a short to a long-form video. So when you upload a short to YouTube, there's an option called related video. You'll see this in the YouTube app if you're using that to upload, or even on the desktop. And then you can connect it to your full-length episode, and when someone sees that short, they'll actually be able to click right there where I have circled, and it will bring them to your full-length episode on your channel. And so we do that for every short we post. We click and relate the full-length episode to that video. And again, it's only YouTube really kind of has that mechanism, and so that's been really useful. And then as you're posting those vertical videos, remember, hook curiosity. One thing is, when it comes to podcasting, a lot of times it's hard to find a clip that's immediately engaging. But if you scroll Instagram Reels or YouTube Shorts, you know that you have to capture attention in the first few seconds. So take just a few minutes. If you're going to find a clip, let's say you got magic clips, you have 6 videos you want to share, whatever the most engaging moment is, maybe it's a laugh, maybe it's an inspirational quote, maybe it's something outlandish someone said, put that right at the beginning of your short. So just imagine someone scrolling through their feed. If they see it, will it capture their attention in the first 3 seconds, maybe even the first second, ideally? And I've even talked to a couple people here already at the conference. If you had a little intro to your shorts or graphical branding you like putting on your short, don't do that. Don't do that, because you're wasting time. If someone's just scrolling through, they're probably not going to watch the whole short. So get right to the good stuff. Hook them at the beginning, driving curiosity. And think about all the other ways you can promote the episode. So you can generate email lists. So one of the things we do is we tell people our show notes are pretty robust. We put a lot of links and resources in our episode show notes. And so we tell people you can sign up. We're not going to send you anything but the show notes. And so people can sign up to our email list, and the show notes get automatically delivered every episode we publish. And we have a bunch of people that just sign up for that. And that's a great way to have a more direct connection to your subscribers or followers across the platforms. I use MailChimp for that, and it actually is still free to use MailChimp RSS for your podcast to email. And it'll just take your show notes and publish it there. One other tip, too, is I really try to drive building community. And that's still the heart of what podcasting, why it's special. It feels like a community. So we use Circle, if you're not familiar with that, circle.so, like S-O. And we actually built an online community there where people can sign up for free, engage with the episodes, and that's another great way to get emails and more connection with your followers and subscribers. So sharing the video everywhere, YouTube Shorts, TikTok, Reels, LinkedIn is actually a great resource for that as well, sharing those vertical videos there, and spend that little bit of time generating some hook and curiosity in your videos. So if you want more information on building your YouTube channel or your podcast, if you go to the Riverside YouTube channel, it's my face everywhere, I apologize, but you're going to see all the videos from me there talking about how to grow your show, how to monetize, even with small numbers of downloads and listens. And so we'd love if you were to follow. You can have the Riverside YouTube. That's the left QR code there. And you can see the podcast that I record every week and edit with Riverside. That's my primary tech show. And you can see it there and see the quality, all the shorts there as well, and see what it looks like to record, edit, and publish with Riverside. So I know I'm really, really fast. I'm going to leave those QR codes now, but wanted to have some time for Q&A. So Q&A on anything. You have a question about adding video, about gear, about editing, promoting. I'll even do monetizing. We have them. They're going to run around with some microphones. But any questions? We already got one?
Steven, thank you so much for that.
Yeah.
I heard yesterday a warning about uploading video to Spotify, that it cuts off Spotify download stats from your host. Is that, you have that experience?
That is correct. So technically, when you upload a video to Spotify, Spotify replaces whatever RSS audio was there with the video. And so your podcast host won't get those analytics. And so basically, if you start uploading video to Spotify for every episode like we do, your Spotify audio metric in your host is going to go to 0 because the video is in Spotify. But it's worth it for us because it's 3 times more viewers. And so you can still log into Spotify for creators, regardless of where you host your show, and you'll see the metrics for Spotify. And you get even more metrics, actually, like retention graphs. So in Spotify, you can see how long are people watching and listening to my content. And so I find it worth it. I have to go one other place for that metric, but I recommend. And one other tip, Apple Podcast Connect. Often you don't really have reason to go there directly, but if you log in, you'll get that same retention graph, and you can see what episodes resonate with my audience, how long are people watching, and it's kind of fun to see the retention graph, because if you ever have like a sponsor or an ad break, you'll see the retention like little dip, because everyone just skipped forward a minute, and so you can see exactly like, well, where are people dropping off, where are people skipping, and that will inform you as a creator what content is resonating, what should I focus on, and maybe what are some other things I should cut from my content. That was a great question. We have another question here in the front.
Hello.
Hi.
My name is Kelsey, and I have a travel podcast, and I loved the idea of sharing your screen so that sometimes you can grab some more images and maybe videos. Are there any copyright issues with that? I know some big companies, let's say like Disney. Is there an issue with pulling up something as long as you're like, well, I'm on this website and this is the image?
I mean, if you're showing like movie clips on YouTube in your podcast, you might get dinged for content because it's from a well-known movie or brand.
Or like another photographer's travel. So, you know what I mean? I'm just wondering if that's an issue.
That could get sticky. I try to stick to the 15-second rule. I try to only share for 15 seconds if it's something like that where I'm not sure. Because that's actually like the YouTube rule as far as I know. Like if you were to play like 5 to 10 seconds of audio, you're fine. If you play more than 15 seconds, you get dinged.
Okay.
So I try to stick to just sharing it for small amounts. Reach out to the photographer or creator, if you want to be able to use their content. But short clips, I think it's okay. And hopefully you're promoting them. You link their stuff in your show notes, point traffic their way.
Thank you.
Another question right here.
So you mentioned that you use iPhones for cameras. I'm on the fence. Like I go on location and I'm a B2B agency and I shoot for just physicians. And I'm solving a problem for them because they can't go anywhere because they're so busy. So I'm going on site. Question, can I get away with iPhones, 3 iPhones going across? What's your opinion?
You for sure can. I mean, that's exactly what me and my co-host did was 3 iPhones. And we just use the Riverside app, and you log in as each person is like a guest. So you pretend like you're remote, each person logging into their iPhone individually. But you could totally do that. The issue you're going to get is audio echo. Everyone's going to be picked up in each other's microphone. And so what I had to do for ours is Riverside has a smart mute feature, which mutes when someone's not talking. And so I did that, and then I had to go in and manually mute a little more. So basically when person A is talking, I'm making sure B and C microphones are muted.
Okay.
Otherwise, you're going to get that echo.
Okay.
And you can try to use echo cancellation, but then it's going to cut out some crosstalk, or if everyone's like laughing and there's a nice moment, you're going to get some like audio cutoff. So I would record no echo cancellation and then play with the muting of each microphone.
Okay, last question. If I don't use Riverside, let's say I use Adobe
Nobody's
Premiere.
perfect. It's okay. Go ahead.
Right, it's okay. I know. You work for them. But let's say I use Adobe Premiere, right? And I've got 3 mirrorless cameras going across.
Yeah.
Versus iPhones, 3 iPhones. Any opinion on the quality of iPhone versus a camera?
So mirrorless camera is always going to look better. You have
Yeah.
lens options for the stuff like that. In a pinch, iPhone can look great. And if you're going to edit in Premiere, you could throw the iPhones in cinematic mode, see if it does well blurring the background, and you can get it looking really good. Lighting is everything,
Yeah,
especially if
it
you're
is.
doing mobile phones. But either way, you would make a multicam clip in Premiere, and you can use something like Autopod to just cut it automatically. So either way, it'll both work.
Great answer.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Question down here in the front. Question over here. Yeah, either way, we do both. I think we got time.
Hey, my network is slowly making this move after 17 years to video, which of course is being done in inverse order of the age of the people producing the podcast. So I'm on the late end of it. We're still going to have a lot of listeners who are still going to be audio only. Is there anything that you have, say, either with Riverside or things that you do AI-wise that can help take that audio clip from video and make it more appropriate for audio? Or is there anything that you have with that?
For sure. We actually just launched AI-generated B-roll. And so even with your audio-only content, you can put the animated captions on it. You can generate visuals via AI, or Riverside actually has a stock video built into the editor. So you could just search for clips and do that. I mean, you see a lot of that kind of stuff like in Instagram Reels, where it's just B-roll over audio. So you can do that in Riverside too. There's a question here.
Hey, so my team and I are also deciding to go into the video realm. What are the most common mistakes people make when starting out for video editing?
Video editing?
Yeah, or video in general.
I would think, don't stress about the gear. There's kind of like a minimum viable quality when it comes to video, and like your phone and a USB mic is it. So don't get like analysis paralysis thinking about the background has to be perfect. Just start recording, because it's going to take a while and consistency to grow anyway, especially on YouTube. So just start right away. You don't have to overthink it. Don't stress too much about gear. And also don't over-edit. A lot of times, like if you come from the audio world, like I was audio only for a long time, I was editing very granularly. And to be honest, I actually still do that. I actually edit my audio podcast a little different than the video. But on the video side, like a couple seconds of silence, some filler words, you don't have to cut it up too much. Honestly, it'll feel more choppy when you do. So don't over-edit. I basically remove silences, and if someone had a bunch of filler words, I might remove some of those. But a natural conversation at an even pace, aim for that.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Question in the back? And we got a couple over here. This is why I went so fast. That's what I was hoping to get to. More questions. Yeah.
How you doing? Long-time Riverside user, so I appreciate you bringing
Thank
this
you.
to the forefront. I asked this of all platforms. I've even asked you guys behind the scenes before. Will we ever be able to kind of punch in and out or zoom in and out instead of just always chop cutting?
Yes.
Okay. I know roadmap questions suck, but I have
It's coming, because you can already crop and zoom, and you'll know in Riverside there's an add scene feature. When you put those together, you'll be able to do that. But it's coming soon.
Awesome.
So yeah, very good. Okay, Shane.
Hi, I want to hear a little bit more about building community and Circle.so, just because I know that so many social media platforms really want you to stay on the platform, and algorithmically they really don't want people leaving. So how did you get your audience to go to Circle.so and to go to an external place to build that community and interact with each other?
One, being active as the creator, because your listeners, they already like you and they want to interact with you. And so if you can promise more engagement with them directly on a platform like Circle, they'll automatically want to move over there. Two, it's a benefit if they get to meet each other. You might have hundreds of thousands of listeners that don't know who each other are. And so it's immediately a built-in place for that. Also, offering some incentives, like Circle has the ability to do live streams built in, or you just offer bonus content or behind-the-scenes photos or videos, and you say, I'm posting this in Circle and nowhere else. So incentivizing, there's an additional benefit as opposed to the community. And it's just a place like every week, I post our episode. I create a new post in Circle with the episode link, but more so for people to comment. And so we'll say in the podcast every week, hey, I want to know, do you keep the battery percentage on your iPhone or not? Comment in Circle. And we just drive the conversation there. And people want to do it because then we get to know who said it. Because an anonymous review in the Apple Podcast or sometimes a comment on YouTube, it's not as engaging, it's not as sticky. And so we'll specifically make conversations and ask questions that lead people there. And so you just do that consistently every week, and they'll slowly move over. And then just drive it. This is where the conversation about our content happens. Go there. You can do that. Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome. One more question over here. Question over here. We'll make it. We'll try to make it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Real quick question about the potential cannibalization of ad revenue. So my existing show's been around for over 9 years. Thinking about making that move and incorporating video. It was an audio-only show for all this time for 15 million downloads or whatever it may be by now. I am concerned because YouTube revenue, I've dabbled with some other forms of YouTube, is pathetic in comparison to actual, agency-obtained ads and CPMs in the $25 to $30 range. YouTube isn't getting anywhere close to that. How do you even concern yourself with cannibalizing existing audio listeners and go, oh, now I get to watch him on YouTube and pay him 5% of what he was making?
Well, guess what? That same sponsor read in the audio is now in video.
Well, okay, except that we don't always do them during the show because the ad, they'll say, okay, go ahead and do this ad read, and then they'll insert it into the back catalog.
Well, I know a great platform to insert video clips into your edit, which is Riverside, and so you can insert that ad to the video as well. But if are you doing dynamic ad insertion?
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, we get out of the 150 to 200,000 downloads we get 80% per month. 80% of those are back catalog episodes, and that's going to keep growing as we've got 400 2-hour-long episodes in the bank.
Well, let me tell you this. Our audio listens didn't drop with when you add video.
That's the thing I was
and
worried about.
Frankly, the people who enjoy listening to audio only will likely not move over.
Okay.
The YouTube audience, Spotify video, that is your new audience and where you grow.
Discoverability.
Correct.
Okay.
And so I would bet your audio listens would not take a hit.
Okay.
And so I don't think for your sponsors or anything it would be an issue.
No.
When you can do an ad read during recording, that's a huge benefit.
Yeah.
Especially if it's a physical product, but even a service or an app that you can screen share. And that's how we do it. All of our sponsor reads are baked in.
Okay.
And so then it's a selling feature for me as a creator because I can say, hey, you get this many audio downloads and you're going to get a few thousand on YouTube and they'll see your product and service on camera. And so if you bake it in, it's actually a greater benefit to those sponsors.
Okay. Thanks.
That's a good question. That's a great question. There's one down here I wanted to get before we go. Oh, we have 0 time? Give me afterwards. I'll talk to you right after. Is that okay? Oh, you didn't have a question? I thought you were saying, okay, well, great. Well, okay, cool. Great. Thank you all so much. Thank you for coming.